a special guest, Dr. James Heaton, who's a nationally recognized cosmetic dentist. Dr. Heaton has built a reputation for creating stunning smile makeovers, and his patient list is about as high-end profile as it gets, including professional athletes, models, and even Instagram influencers.
I came out just wanting to pay off my student loans. That was my first passion. As all the dentists listening to this know, like that's pretty daunting. No, I just want to pay that off, and I knew that running a good business and understanding marketing, like we're going to talk about today, was how I was going to get there. As a new dentist, or even experienced, seasoned dentist, he's understand the difference between a personal brand and your business's brand. Both are very valuable, but both are going to do very different things for you.
I want to get your thoughts on the future of cosmetic dentistry. What emerging trends do you see shaping the future of the industry? What's going to be next?
Most of my clients come from out of state. 80% of my patients jump on an airplane to come see me. Most dentists have seen some lumineers. They know how bad they can look. And so when we started putting up veneer cases that were super high-end looking and saying, these are no prep, every single dentist was like, wait, what? How'd you do that? This could be the biggest takeaway from this podcast is
Hey everyone, today on the No BS Dental Growth Podcast, I'm excited to welcome a special guest, Dr. James Heaton, who's a nationally recognized cosmetic dentist out of Chandler, Arizona. Now, what's really cool is Dr. Heaton has built a reputation for creating stunning smile makeovers, and with porcelain veneers and Invisalign, a lot of cosmetic type stuff. And his patient list is about as high-end profile as it gets, including professional athletes, models, and even Instagram influencers. Now, Dr. Heaton's also the founder of Smiles of Chandler and Smile Trend. Hopefully I got those names right. Yep. It's an institute where he teaches general dentists how to elevate their cosmetic dentistry skills to a whole new level. Now, one of his innovations is called I believe it's called, and correct me, Dr. Heaton, when we get there, but the Luxe No-Prep Veneers. And it's changed the way many doctors really think about minimally invasive smile design. And on top of that, when he has extra time, he's become a respected educator in the field, training dentists nationwide on advanced cosmetic techniques and really helping raise the bar for patient outcomes everywhere. So we're going to dive into his journey and how he kind of got to the point where he is now, and really what he sees as a future of cosmetic dentistry, and how dentists can tap into this growing high demand area of care, because I know a lot of you out there are really looking to kind of take it to the next level with your practices. So let's jump in and welcome Dr. James Heaton to the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would love to, this podcast is named after No BS. So I definitely want to get some good topics for our audience today. Let's just start with, how did you transition from really more traditional dentistry, I guess, to focusing more on higher-end cosmetic procedures? What was the thought process there?
Yeah, I would love to say that I just came out of dental school knowing that veneers was my passion. That's what I wanted to do, but that's actually far from the truth. I came out just wanting to pay off my student loans. That was my first passion. Because as all the dentists listening to this know, like that's pretty daunting, and they're coming out with a lot more debt than I did. You know what I mean? They're coming out with $600,000-$700,000 in debt, and so I just want to pay that off, and I knew that running a good business and understanding marketing, like we're going to talk about today, was how I was going to get there, and that was a really good base for me, because I spent a lot of time those first couple of years just listening to every podcast I get my hands on. I was on Facebook groups, Dental Town, all that stuff, trying to learn how to run a business. And that was a really good foundation for me. And then I became a CE junkie, and veneers was not in what I was pursuing, truthfully. I wanted to take every CE course I could get my hands on, but I wanted to do full mouth rehabs, and I took a 2-year implant residency so I could add that. And then I did a big, long orthodontic residency so I could add that. And I tried to get really good at root canals and all those things. And all those things is what kind of prepared me to do veneers at a high level, because you got to understand the whole mouth. And so looking back, that's what my recommendation to new dentists would be is, hey, don't try to just focus on just veneers, be a great general dentist. And then when those veneer cases come in, you know how to handle them.
Yeah. Yeah, it totally makes sense. And it's, it's not like you started out like, I'm going to be this, high low. You really got the basics down first and grew from there. I think that's really important to understand. Because I do see some of the younger folks coming out of college and they're kind of focused on that. And they think maybe I can just jump right to, the level you are. And I think, you're right. You got to kind of get those basics down first and go from there. But I think something that will really play into maybe some of the younger dentists out there and older is, what role has social media played in establishing kind of this cosmetic brand that you have now?
Yeah, it's huge, honestly. And I think that every dentist kind of needs to understand a little bit about how to create a brand. But I think that you need to really clearly, as a new dentist or even a experienced, seasoned dentist, needs to understand the difference between a personal brand and your business's brand. Because both are very valuable, but both are going to do very different things for you. And a lot of it, when it comes to social media, it's all about trust. And it's really, really hard to build trust in a business brand, right? Like most of my clients come from out of state. 80% of my patients jump on an airplane to come see me. And 0 of them jump on an airplane to come to Smiles of Chandler. That brand is not getting people to jump on an airplane. But my personal brand, Dr. James Heaton, I've been able to build trust into that personal brand to the point where people will jump on an airplane to come see me. And those are 2 different brands. I focus on both, and I think they're both really important, but it's really, really important that you understand the advantages of both. My advice to all new dentists would be to start establishing your personal brand. But Chris, I think that it's important that when you do that, you do it authentically, because people will see right through you. If you try to just jump online and try to be, Dr. Appa, these are some names that most dentists will know, Dr. Appa, or like my partner, Dr. Michael Allen, who has this incredible personal brand. You can't be them. You can only be you. Right. And the beauty of that is when you have an authentic personal brand, you're actually going to attract the patients that you want to see. And the same thing goes for your business too. You talk about getting new patients in and filling the schedule. You want to fill them with people that you actually want to be seeing. The only way to do that is to be really authentic in your branding.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Be you, right? I mean, you don't have to work at it. You're just you. And, I think that's an incredible piece of advice. So,
and it's not just your dentistry. Like if you want to build trust with people, they need to get to know you. Like they want to know what your hobbies are. You know what I mean? If you're really into dancing or hunting, which, those are 2 polar opposite things, like be that, just own it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like own who you are, and you're going to attract the right type of patients to you.
Yeah.
And the patients that are also interested in that, they're going to immediately trust you because they know, they know a little bit about who you are. So it really builds trust quickly when you can be authentic.
Yeah. Awesome. Can you share maybe a couple of specific strategies that you're doing right now, or maybe back in the beginning, that have been effective in attracting some of these high profile type clients? I mean, I know you got to work your way up to that, but how do you get those folks in the door, and what are you doing maybe specifically on social media to help yourself with that?
Boy, that's a good question, Chris. I think that you have to become the dentist that they want to go see. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have to be if you want that person to come to you for veneers, you have to be the guy who has done several hundred sets of veneers, and you're using a really high-end lab where you're paying $500, $600, $700, and your photography has to be really on point, and your whole brand, so inside your office, which is a huge part of your brand, needs to look like the type of office that those type of people want to come see. So you got to become the person that, and your brand has to become what they want to come see. But honestly, that's not what I would focus on for most dentists. What I would focus on is this. Honestly, I've had influencers come in with 250,000 followers and ton of engagement, and they come in and I do a small makeover on them, and it's just crickets. Nothing happens from that. But I'll tell you what's really powerful. And this could be the biggest takeaway from this podcast is the girl who lives in your local community and has 8,000 followers and, talks about food and talks about lifestyle. Bring her in and do free whitening. It's going to cost you $150. Yep. And have her just promote your office. That will do 10 times more than that influencer who has 250,000 followers for your office. I guarantee it will. And she will be appreciative and she might mention you multiple times. Those are the type of influencers that you want to try to get into your office.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. People think too big sometimes, and I even do it myself. It's, in my world with, a lot of dental practices want to rank high on Google, right? Everybody,
right. Everybody wants to be number one.
And there's an art to that for sure and a science. But one big thing is that, it's these things called backlinks, which are links from other websites to yours, right? And the more authoritative they are, typically the better. But so people want to, they're kind of been trained SEO by, whoever, and they come to us thinking, well, we need these big backlinks from like USA Today and CNN and whatever. And in all honesty, backlinks from local websites, organizations, charities, schools, things like that work 10 times better than these big, expensive backlinks that you got to go try buy and develop. And so I think it's the same thought. You're thinking really big and that's great. You're taught to do that. But sometimes these smaller organizations, smaller influencers, and getting good rapport with those types of folks can make a huge difference in a positive way. So
I agree with that 100%.
That's an awesome point. So let's talk about these no-prep veneers. What inspired you to develop the Luxe No-Prep Veneers, and how did this all start?
Honestly, Chris, it came from I don't like doing veneers on somebody who their smile is already an 8 or a 9. Do you know what I mean? So early on, for me, early on was like 7 years ago. I'd have people come to me for veneers and I just tell them no. Like, hey, your smile's already awesome. There's absolutely no way I'm going to shave down your teeth and do veneers. So for those people who just wanted a small upgrade, they wanted to go from a 8.5 to a 9.5, because there is no 10, there's no perfect smile, but they want to go from 8.5 to 9.5 and they got a blank checkbook. The problem was I knew they were going to go find somebody else and somebody else was going to cut their teeth down. You know what I mean? And for me, that was this just really weird issue. And so at the time, there were like really hardly any courses to take to learn no-prep veneers. Nobody was doing it. The only thing out there was Lumineers, which had an awful reputation, and for a good reason, honestly. They didn't look great. So my partner and I started, we own a cosmetic lab, and even our lab was like, this doesn't seem like a good idea, but we kind of pushed them, and we started kind of experimenting with what you can do with no-prep veneers. And we started to figure out the ins and outs of it and what you can do, what you can't do. We kind of created something that we call near no-prep veneers, where we do make some tiny changes to teeth, but they're changes that the patient can't notice, can't see. You know what I mean? You're not just destroying these teeth and ripping the enamel off. So after a few years of doing that, we discovered that actually you can do really, really cool things with no-prep veneers. And we branded ours, Luxe No-Prep Veneers. That's what my partner and I call them. Truthfully, they're the exact same veneer that you're going to get if you order veneers from our lab. You know what I mean? So if you come take our course and use our process and use our lab, like, you're basically doing Luxe No-Prep Veneers. It's just our brand that we trademarked. You know what I mean? Which I think is smart. I think it's smart to trademark the things you do. And so now, 3 years into that, we have a really cool brand, and people seek us out asking for Luxe No-Prep Veneers.
That's awesome. That's incredible. I'm curious though, you talked about you brought it to your lab and they're like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And, so there's obviously some challenges too. What kind of challenges did you face, like introducing this technique to like the broader dental community? Did you get pushback from doctors, or did they embrace it right away? Or
oh yeah, we still get pushback, honestly, from some of the bigger names in dentistry. We still get pushback from them. But dentists as a whole, I think, love the idea. They saw, because most dentists have seen some lumineers. They know how bad they can look. And so when we started putting up veneer cases that were super high end looking and saying these are no prep, every single dentist was like, wait, what? How'd you do that? You know what I mean? And so when we put on about 6 no prep veneer courses a year, and they all sell out. Every single one sells out. Like, dentists want to know how to do it. And it's pretty cool. They leave fired up, ready to go back to their community and be the guy doing no prep veneers, which we love that. Like, we
awesome.
genuinely want every single dentist to go back and just be super successful with the skills we gave them.
Yeah, that's great. Now talk to me about Smile Trend. What is that, and what does it offer?
Yeah. So initially Smile Trend was just, we wanted to teach dentists to do veneers, but to do it predictably. Veneers can be really frustrating. If you haven't done a lot of veneers, they can be so stressful and really hard and kind of a headache with the patient if you don't have a good system. And so we started out just wanting to teach dentists what we had learned the last 7 years doing all these cosmetic cases. But now, if I'm being totally honest, it's masquerading as a cosmetic institute. It's actually a community. So once you take a Smile Trend course, we have a study club you can join. We have a mastermind that you can join. We have these big online forums, and it's really become a place where dentists who practice, especially if you've been practicing 15, 20 years, a lot of dentists, and maybe a lot of them listen to this, they feel like they're on an island. They feel alone. They don't really have anybody they can kind of ask questions to. Smile Trend has become a community. Like, we talk a lot about cosmetic dentistry, obviously, and veneers and no prep veneers, but it's become a community where dentists can feel like they're part of something. They can ask a question about insurance or a team member or their hygienist or whatever. So now we attract clients by offering to teach them no prep veneers and cosmetic dentistry, but it's become a community. It's become something really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, everybody's a little different skill level, how do you ensure that your courses are accessible and beneficial to dentists at various skill levels, if they've never done one, all the way to the, guys that maybe have done them for years?
Yeah, we kind of teach the whole process from A to Z. My partner, Michael Allen, he has an associate who has only been working for a year. She's literally been working for 1 year. And if you look at her social media, she's doing veneer cases. She doesn't do a ton of them. She does, like one a month or whatever, but she follows our process. She uses our lab or other high-end labs. Doesn't have to be our lab. And she's putting out cases that would just rival anything else on Instagram. But she also has, she's using his photography and his video and all that. And that's a big part of it too. Like, if you really want to make good content, your content has to be good quality. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And that's your personal brand as well as your business brand. Like, your business brand, if the photo you took as your front office girl took a picture of cookies sitting on the staff's table that they eat in the back, like, nobody's going to look at that. Do you know what I mean? If you took a picture of you in dirty green scrub sitting in your operatory, and the operatory's, a little bit disheveled, and your patient's there and you're smiling and this patient's smiling, nobody wants to see that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not high-end aesthetic content. Like, your content, and I've heard you talk a lot about this on your podcast, Chris, but your content needs to fall into one of a few categories. And the easiest, best one is just informational. Like, it should be, hey, here's my 3 best tips on how to take care of your teeth right before you go to bed. Here's the whitening toothpaste I like. Here's the ones I dislike. That type of stuff. That does great. You know what I mean? Yes. Picture of you sitting awkwardly, smiling at a patient in your operatory that you haven't touched up in 15 years. That's not. Or this goes back to being authentic. If you're funny, get on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn, whatever. Be funny. Brady Smith is a perfect example of that. I don't know if you know who he is. He is hilarious, and he has grown a gigantic following by being authentically funny. So funny's good, entertaining, educational, and then obviously aesthetic. Like, that's what I lean heavily into. But if you're going to lean heavily into aesthetics, your photography and your video need to be like top notch.
Yeah. I'm going to take that part where you talked about, images and photography, and I'm going to exploit it because we still have problems today with when we bring on new clients. They don't want to do like photography. They want to use like stock images on their website,
Yeah, garbage
on their Facebook. And I'm like,
garbage.
I've almost come to the point where I don't take on clients unless they're willing to work with us on that part of the content, because in healthcare, nobody wants to connect with a stock image, and everybody knows what a stock image is, right? They want to connect with, who am I going to go see? What's their staff look like? What's their office look like? Does this doc actually know what he or she's talking about, right? And you're so right. And it's sometimes frustrating for us to have to, explain that. They just, sometimes people don't want to be on camera, and I get that. And there's other ways to identify the practice other than that. But you're so right about that. I can't agree more. So
stock image, you might as well not put it up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you only have a chance of losing followers putting a stock image up, or some weird infographic that you stole. It needs to be your face talking about. You could take that infographic and put it in front of you, your face with something aesthetic behind you, and you talking about it. That's going to be appealing, and it might get shared. It might get liked. It might get comments. But if it's just a stock infographic or a stock picture of somebody smiling, total waste of your time. The internet doesn't want it. We have savvy consumers, very, very savvy, and they're all shopping on Instagram. Whether it's for a new dentist or whatever it is, there are a million things they're shopping for. They're very savvy, and they know what's garbage. Don't put garbage out there. You can only lose customers. So just be smart about it. Chris, we actually teach, we have a shameless plug. We have a 1-day marketing boot camp where we teach you how to get great photos. We teach you how to get great video and what to use for that. And we go over all the pros and cons of an iPhone, because a lot of that content is coming from an iPhone. Okay. And you can get unbelievable stuff from an iPhone. If you want to be a real high-end cosmetic dentist, you need something different than an iPhone. But most of the content you make can be done with an iPhone. You just need to know how to do it and what to look for.
Yeah, the technology today just on a mobile phone is unreal what you can do. And I tell people this all the time, is that start there. And if we, start to expand and we're getting big patients and your skill levels going up, then you can look at investing in, more expensive equipment and things like that. But that's a great place to start. I think
you know what I like what you said about people want to see your team. They want to see your office. That can be scary for some dentists because, but maybe that's your cue that you need to upgrade your brand within your office. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to post pictures of your office, spend a little bit of money and refresh it. Yeah. If Susie at the front office wears green scrubs and you don't want that to be on Instagram, let's change that up. Do you know what I mean? No offense to Susie, but like, if you want to elevate your brand, your front office should be wearing something nice, and your office should look nice, and you should have your team well coached on how you address patients, how you welcome patients. If you're afraid to put it on Instagram, you should be changing it anyway. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm going to change gears. I want to go back a little bit because I think you said something really important about this influencer thing. I think we're exploring that in our company of helping dental practices get involved with maybe more influencers, especially localized. If you would maybe tell people, if they're interested in that, how do you go about identifying and even collaborating with the right influencers in your area? Maybe is it as simple as a search, or what do you usually do?
Yeah, I think it just takes some time. The reality is you probably have a girl in your office in her 20s who knows all the local influencers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most dental offices have that girl. Yep. And most of us dentists aren't that guy. When I started this like 7 years ago, I would do all these searches because people were hashtagging things, right? So I would search like hashtag Chandler, Arizona, hashtag Scottsdale, Arizona, which is my neighbor, and all these different things. And I would find these influencers, and that's how I found them back in the day. But now, I don't think you even need to do that. You can if you'd like, but like, there are girls in your office that know, the local influencers
Yeah.
that they follow for where to go for a cool restaurant, where to go for shopping,
Yes.
where to get fashion advice. And those are the girls that you want in.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. And there's also, I can't, of course, I'm blanking out now, but there are some websites out there too that will help. But they kind of go after more the national people. So I'm not sure it'd be
Yeah.
a great fit, but I'll put it in the comments of this video once we post it. But I want to talk a little bit. We're going to wrap it up here in a few minutes, but I want to get your thoughts on the future of cosmetic dentistry. What emerging trends do you see shaping the future of the industry? What's going to be next?
Yeah, that is such a good question. No-Prep veneers are still in their infancy, I think. I think they're going to get a lot bigger than they currently are. They've honestly exploded in the last 2 or 3 years. And that's just going to continue to grow. People are going to keep wanting veneers. Honestly, no matter what our economy is doing, going up or going down, people that want a really confident smile are going to seek that out. And because people are willing to invest in themselves. And that's what a smile makeover is. It's an investment in you, in your confidence, in your, professionally, personally, in so many different ways. I will tell you, I actually think, and this is like really, really early, but I think that 3D printed veneers are going to be a thing. Matter of fact, we will probably be teaching, my partner and I are in the kind of testing phase right now with what we think can be done with 3D printed veneers. And we're getting better materials all the time. So dentists will understand this. There's milling and there's 3D printing. And, we've been milling the heck out of everything for a long time. But I think we're going to start printing a lot of stuff, both like on the general dentist side from inlays, onlays, crowns, but even veneers. And I think that's going to be the cost goes way, way down. There's definitely some advantages of it, and they're getting better materials. So honestly, that would be my thing to tell dentists to watch out for in the next, gosh, if we do another podcast together in 2 years, Chris, I'll have a very different story for you on 3D printed veneers. I guarantee it. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah, I bought my first 3D printer about a month ago. And my wife, who already thinks I'm a geek, is I'm like making little rubber duckies and potted plant bowls and stuff. But yeah, I'm just like amazed by it. I know 3D printing isn't new by any means, but it is getting better and it's getting more advanced. And the materials that you can use now, even in just doing general stuff, is it's pretty cool what you can do. And the cost of entry, at least on the general side of things, are going down. I mean, you can buy a basic 3D printer now to make the crap I am for, a few $100s. So yeah, I think that's going to be a real possibility of what you're talking about there for dentistry and other healthcare devices too.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, one more question I have for you here, but how does a dentist stay ahead in just knowledge these days? I mean, I know you became a CE junkie and, but a lot of the dentists we work with are working, 50 plus hours a week. They're just basically trying to, get their practices going. Where can they go to stay ahead of technological advancements and just learn more about what's coming and really get involved in the right stuff?
Yeah. Podcasts are a big one. You know what I mean? Because everybody's got to drive to work and drive back from work. To that dentist working 50 hours a week, you need to step back and really rethink things, because that's not how you grow your business.
Right.
You working 50 hours a week is a giant mistake. You're going to burn out. Your team's going to feel it. You're going to feel it. Your patients are going to sense it. So to that dentist, if you're working 50 hours a week, text me, text Chris. Let's have a conversation, because that's not the way. You're going to hate your career. I guarantee it. But podcasts are huge. And then just really good CE, just commit to it. Just say, every year I'm going to spend X amount of dollars on CE, and line it out at the front of the year. That's what I used to do. I used to plan my whole CE trips at the beginning of the year, and I'd plan them all out. And just start doing that. Just figure out how much you're going to spend. And honestly, there's a lot of really good CE online too. Like if you're a father of 4 like myself, and all your kids are in sports, it's hard to leave for a weekend and fly somewhere. It's really, really hard. But most institutes have really good online learning too. So, spend some time just getting as much as you can online and podcasts. That's where I'd go, Chris.
Yeah. Well, that's great. When, you've got enough content for us to do probably 2 or 3 more podcasts. People can learn so much from you. It's incredible the knowledge you have. So I really appreciate you taking the time today. And if you don't mind, I'd love to follow up with you in a month or two, and maybe we can do another one on I think a good topic would be, talking to those dentists that are spending 40, 50, 60 hours a week in their practices,
Let's do it. Let's have that conversation. I'm down.
Yeah. So I'm going to put all of your information, obviously in the content or the context part of this video, but what's the best way people can get a hold of you to learn more about what you offer and things like that?
Yeah, I'd say just jump on my Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time, put most of my content at Dr. James Heaton. So it's Dr. James Heaton, Heaton. We can probably throw that in the notes, but
yeah.
I have a girl who answers a lot of stuff on there, but if I get a question from a doctor, like I answer 100% of those. So if you reach out to me, you'll hear from me personally.
That's awesome. Yeah. I was looking at your page, just prior to this. I'm like, yeah, this is serious stuff. And doctors out there, I can tell you can learn a lot social media wise from just following Dr. Heaton. So, all right. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up today's episode of the No BS Dental Growth Podcast. A big thank you to Dr. James Heaton for not just joining us, but just sharing insights on cosmetic dentistry, patient stuff, and what's next he sees for the profession. I think you're spot on with all of that stuff. Now, if you would like to learn more about Dr. Heaton's work, check out the information I'm going to put down below the video. He's got a lot of information out on his Instagram page, as he mentioned. But it's also just a great resource for a lot of different things. So, and as always, if this episode did give you some ideas for your own practice, whether it's, growing cosmetic cases, tightening up your marketing, or just thinking bigger about what's possible, that's what this show's really all about. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss our future episodes. And if you get value out of today's conversation, leave us a quick review. It always helps. And it does help more dentists and orthodontists find the show. So until next time, keep growing, keep innovating, and keep doing dentistry your way.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Dental Marketing Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.kickstartdental.com/podcast, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Spotify, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you are ready to grow your practice, then you might want to schedule a free strategy session with us. Just go to kickstartdental.com and click the free strategy session button and give us 15 minutes of your time to change your practice forever. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode. And thanks for listening to the Dental Marketing Podcast by Kickstart Dental Marketing, where dentists go to win online.